How's it going, everyone? Puffmeister here, back again with another video for you all today. So, firstly, if you can hear the dryer in the background, I apologize. If it's too obnoxious, I might have to record this later, but we'll see by the end of the video. So, but today we are going to be going over sort of a deck profile of one of the starter decks. We are going to be going over the Creeping Chaos starter deck, which focuses on the Chaotix and Warrior factions, with an emphasis on the Chaotix. It also features Timmy as the human card. So, I'll just be going over the cards and going over some simple things you can do with them. Because this isn't the best deck in the world, but I think it has potential to be expanded upon. The ideas presented here, maybe. But yeah, so firstly, here is Timmy. Now, Timmy, he has a pretty good ability, even though it has been nerfed since the beginnings of the game. But his ability reads, at the start of your turn, monsters that you control that have an active faction bonus gain +1 power. Now, the reason I changed this was because if a player went like second and they had this ability, they could just place down 2 of the same faction monsters. They immediately got that bonus. And Timmy, so if you're like a Warriors, that's an instant +2 power on the first turn. That's enough to KO actually quite a few things. So it's a little nerf to Timmy, but he's still really good, and he's a little weak to cards that'll move your monsters around on the field, but still really good. Just a flat, solid buff to your cards, which you'll most likely have all the time. He does have 26 health to make up for that ability, but that's still pretty decent, so I'll put him to the side. And nextly, we're going to be going over the main focus of the deck, which is the Jacko, Spooko, and Rapport level up line. So we'll be running 3 copies of Jacko here, and Jacko is just a really solid card in general for a level 1. He has 5 health, which is quite good. He also has 1 power, which is pretty standard for level 1. Some have 2. There used to be one that had 3, but I put it down to 2, because anyway. And he has a decent ability in Spring Out, which is basically acts as a counter, where you can just deal 1 damage back when he's attacked, so very solid. A good game. Good early game tank, actually, even though he doesn't look like one. He kind of is. And he also has a support ability, which is +1 power to your attack zone monster. So overall, just a really solid card. Can be used in quite a variety of hands. If you put him in a deck, you probably won't be disappointed. I think, anyway. And next up here we have his... I should probably pull from the right side of the deck here. Hold on. Next up, there are also 3 copies of Spooko, his next form, and he's very similar to Jacko, with being a fire element, but he has 2 more health and 1 more power, so 7 health, 2 damage now. Pretty much similar in everything else, same ability, same bonus, so not much else to say there. He's just the stepping stone on the way to the main sort of boss monster card for the deck. We are running 2 copies of Rapport. And Rapport is just a really solid card in general. 10 health, so he can take a beating and 5 damage. And the deck is built around making use of the Soul Steal ability, which is when an active monster you control is sent to the discard pile, he gains +1 power, and that's probably gonna have to reword it a little bit, but it's good until he leaves the field. So very good, and the whole deck is built around sort of promoting this and building up his power. So he also has an improved support ability, which is +2 power as opposed to +1. So yeah, just very, very solid card in general, I think, anyway. Next up, there are 3 copies of Bat Freak. And Bat Freak's just a solid level 1. 4 health, 2 damage. Is really good early game, though he does have no ability or bonus. Support ability. So he's just kind of there if your opponent's running, say, I don't know, a good fire monster. Just throw in some water, Bat Freak at him. It'll help take him down a bit easier. And he also helps get that Chaotix faction bonus active, which I should probably have gone over before, but basically, if 2 Chaotix monsters are adjacent to each other, and they would gain SP through battle, they gain an additional +1, which is a bit different to how it was before, but still pretty good. And finally, we also have 3 copies of Batlord, who's just a very, very solid level 2. 7 health, 3 damage, her power, And his ability is Vampiric, which is when he deals damage, he heals too, so he's quite a tank. And Batlord himself is kind of sort of a backup win condition, I guess you could say. Because if you're struggling to get, your Rapports out, you could put in Batlord. He's very bulky, and he has decent damage, and he can heal himself right back up, and he can also improve his maximum health. So he's just very good, and it's good backup. Or sort of a good wall for when you're trying to get your Rapport up and running. Now this next one here is sort of the main part of the main combo piece with Rapport, which is Timberbotton, his level up form. Timberbot is a metal type, and his support ability reads, your attack zone monster takes 1 less damage from opposing wood monsters, so pretty okay. He's meant to sort of be anti-wood monsters, so makes sense. 3 health, 2 damage. A little on the weaker side for health, but he does have 2 damage, which is very good early game. And then he levels into Timbercrush, which is right here. Running 3 of them in the deck as well. His ability is Tree Crusher, which is once per turn. Before attacking, you may send 1 wood monster you control to the discard pile to grant this monster +3 power till the end of your turn. So that is really good. I changed it, so before it was he had 5 health, 5 damage, and he gained +2 with his ability. I changed it so he only has 4 health, but he gains 3 power, so he still hits the same amount of power with his ability. But at the same time, if your opponent has like a nullifying ability effect card or something, which I don't think exists yet, but it may in the future, so... But if they have that, then he's a bit weaker, but still. And the main idea is you would sack a wood monster you control, which gives Timbercrush power, but also feeds into Rapport's ability right here, which gives him +1 power. So pretty solid, pretty solid. And those are all of the Chaotix monsters that you get in the deck. But we're not done with the monster cards just yet. We are also running 3 copies of Platy. And Platy, he's pretty good. Warriors are actually very scary early game, and I feel like a lot of people are going to be running just aggro warriors, because they gain +1 power. Like aggro warriors plus Timmy, I think is going to be a pretty scary thing to go up against. But anyway, 3 health, 2 damage, so pretty standard. He's Earth element, and when he takes damage, he gains +1 power. So before it was for every point of health he's missing, he gained a power, but this is a bit different. So even if he takes 2 damage, he still only gains 1. However, he can heal back up and gain more power that way. So it's different, but it's still the same. And he levels into Abominable, who also has 3 copies in the deck. And he has the same thing, he just has better health and damage, so not much else to say there. Yeah, he's just a good card, He's the main idea of putting him in here was that he's going to be taking damage, getting powerful. When he's KO'd and sent to the discard pile, Rapport is going to gain extra power, so good stuff all around there. And finally, for the last monster card, we have 3 copies of Platy Plank, and this is what you're going to be sacking to feed into Timbercrush's ability and also feed into your Rapport. Excuse me for 1 second. I got smart and I have water next to me, so I don't stop talking because I'm dried out. But yeah, Platy Plank's just very solid card in and of itself, but you are going to be sacking him 99% of the time, I feel. But you could always just throw him out there. He has 4 health, 2 damage, which is really good. And he deals damage. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, right. I did change it. So basically, he loses no damage when attacking from the support zone. When he deals damage, he deals 1 damage to himself. So he's very solid actually. So, and also if he KOs himself with his ability, you can heal your attack zone monster by 3 HP. So what you could do is say you have your Rapport out, because let's say you can't get your Timbercrush out or something. You have your Rapport out, and you're supporting him with Platy Plank. Platy Plank KOs himself with his ability, dealing 2 damage. Platy Plank is sent to the discard pile, feeding into Rapport's ability. And then he also gets healed, which is a lacking... There's not a lot of healing, any heals really, in this deck besides Platy Plank, so that is good to know if you want to keep Rapport out long enough. So up next, we have the effect cards for the deck. which focus around supporting the playstyle. And since the playstyle kind of revolves around having a level 3 and a level 2 out, we have a few SP cards that give us more SP, effect cards that give us more SP, excuse me, and we also have a few other cards to help support us. So we have 3 copies of Revival, which allows us to grab a level 1 from the discard pile and play it. So, you know, when we're sacking off those platy planks, you play your Revival and he's right back in the action. So, very, very good card. It has been buffed quite a bit. Before it was you put it in your hand, now you can directly play it. I think it makes things more interesting, so that's why I did that. Not much else to say except it works well in that scenario. Next up here we have me pulling from the wrong side of the deck again. Next up we have 2 copies of SP Share, which basically allows us to get more SP whenever our opponent will get more SP, and when we get more SP, so just SP all around. Very good card for, you know, stocking up on the currency of the main game, which is SP, which allows you to play cards, level up monsters, all that fun stuff. I'm probably gonna have to, I am gonna change the wording on it and maybe nerf it a little bit, but yeah. Next up we have Offering, which actually works for quite a few reasons, excuse me. Basically you can send 1 monster you control and send it to your discard pile and gain SP equal to its remaining HP. So let's say, for example, you have your Jacko. He's taken 2 damage. If you discard him, you gain 3 SP, but if you play him and then you immediately send him to the discard pile, you gain 5. I might change this to where you can't send one that you've played this turn, because it seems really good, but as you can see, sending to the discard pile, it feeds into Rapport's ability to give him more power. So pretty simple. It also gets you more SP for just playing those bigger monsters. So good stuff there. Next up, we are running 3 of Book of Monsters in the deck. Basically allows you to search your deck for any monster card you want and add it to your hand, then shuffle afterwards. It adds a bit of consistency. It's not super powerful, but, you know, if you're like, okay, I have Jacko, then I have Spooko, but I need that Rapport, you just play your Book of Monsters, you get your Rapport out, and you start having fun from there. Alright, let me get situated here. Book of Monsters, pretty standard, pretty simple. Nothing too amazing there. Next up, we're running 2 copies of Harvest Moon. Now, you can only have 1 of these in play at a time, but we are running 2 for more consistency's sake. Basically, at the start of your turn, you gain an additional +1 SP, so you'd be getting 3 per turn as opposed to 2. And it costs 3 to play, so you would need to play this pretty early on in order to gain a lot of effect from it, because otherwise it won't do much for you, because you need 3 of your turns to go by to even just come out even on it. So that's something to keep in mind there, but it's not a terrible card. And then we have 2 copies of Slippery Fingers, which just allows you to... Oh, excuse me here. Let me situate myself. My feet are falling asleep because I'm kneeling down. Oh, okay. 2 copies of Slippery Fingers. Just allows you to remove equipment cards off monsters. So if your opponent has an annoying equipment card, you can get rid of it. It doesn't really mesh well with the rest of the deck, but it's something kind of thrown in there because the other starter deck has some decent equipment cards. So just something for you to keep in mind there. Next up, 2 Meteor Showers. This actually works pretty well because it does 1 damage to all active monsters. So this actually works pretty well because you can damage your opponent's monsters, but you can also do... Just let me find it here. Whoops. Let's see. There we go. You can feed it into your platy and abominable, so they gain power when they take damage, so you can give them basically free power while also damaging your own monsters. So there's that for you there. And also, if you KO a monster with it, your opponent doesn't get any SP, so it can also be used to sort of deny your opponent SP they would get from monsters. And of course, if you KO your monster, it's sent to the discard pile, which feeds into Rapport's ability. What do you know? And next up here, we are running 3 copies of Shining Scimitar, not Scimitar. That will be changed when they are publicly released, but very simple. The equip monster gains +2 power. Not much else there. You can sort of equip it to your Rapport or whoever you want, really, and they just get more bulky, not more bulky, more powerful. Very simple, but no, it's effective. And lastly, we're also running 2 copies of Arms Merchant. So this allows you to search your deck for an equipment card and add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck afterwards. It's not super useful in this deck, really. It was in there originally because SP Share was originally an equipment card, but it's now an effect card, so really you'd just be using it to fish out your shining Scimitars, which, depending on your playstyle, might not be super useful for you, but is what it is. And that is it for this deck. Next video should be going over the Nature's Protection starter deck. But yeah, I hope you... What are words? I don't know what words are, guys. Hold on, brain fart here. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think of the deck in the comments section below. I hope you can kind of see the thought process behind some of the cards. Out of the 2 starter decks, I think this one is has more of an actual theme going on. The other one's kind of just stuff thrown together, I feel, but there's some stuff that works together well in that deck, so you'll see next time. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll catch y'all next time. Bye.